I want to say something before we start. Actually, for this talk, we're supposed to hand this out to the household leaders. So let me ask you a question. How many household leaders have a copy of the Household Leaders Handbook? You have it, bro? I know you guys. Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, all you guys should have one. If you're a household leader, you should have this book. So if not, I'll see that everybody gets one way or the other.
Then you're going to provide us, right?
Well, you're going to have to pay me back. But I think, CFC will purchase them for you. But, yeah,
we will cover that.
Yeah, I think.
Even the prospective leaders, they will have it.
Yeah. So anyway, you all know, most of us as household leaders, we already know, that a household is a grouping of couples, correct? We know that. And, that we meet regularly. This says regularly during the week. But because we're in the United States, our schedule's so hectic that we do our household meetings twice a month, every other week, usually the second and fourth weekend of the months. Also, during our household, it's personal sharing for mutual support and encouragement in our Christian life. Because if we don't have our household meeting, we start to miss God in our lives. We really do. If you don't have a household meeting, or, if you don't get to share that love of the Lord, if your household leader cancels the household all the time, then you start to lose that feeling, and you lose your Christian life. You drift away from it. So anyway, we need that encouragement in our Christian life. And as such, the household, we know, is the basic unit of our Couples for Christ formation. It's our pastoral structure for Couples for Christ. The purpose of a household group is to build an environment for the support of our Christian life of couples and to provide a means of encouraging and hastening growth into Christian life. As such, the household group builds faith and provides for mutual encouragement through sharing of life experiences and God's practical wisdom. Our teachings are based on the principles of Christianity, every single one of them. And that's why these are so important in our lives as CFC members. So we provide, our household also provides friendship and brotherhood, sisterhood, without which our Christian life lacks a joyful expression. And as I told you before, if we don't away from them, if we don't attend them regularly, we miss that. We miss that in our lives here. I know I do, and Lorna and I do that. Sometimes if we don't have even she and I, if we don't attend the lower household, we go, babe, we need to attend the lower household because we're not getting, right now we don't have a means of our pastoral growth, so we attend the lower households to get that. And also provide support for each other's needs. Truly, we all know that because when a brother and sister needs something, most of us are always there to help. Not, we can't always help, but, that's what we're about as brothers and sisters in Christ, helping each other. We help people overcome obstacles to growth in their Christian lives. If a household leader, if he's not the pastor of his household, if he's not the shepherd of his flock, where are his household members going to get that leadership? Where are they going to get that formation? It has to come from us as leaders. So we all know that a household is composed of 5 to 7 couples. We're not always that. I think most of the Keller households are like 4 couples. Some are 5, some of the Dallas households. We're still trying to grow. As we grow, those households will grow. And we could do one household and we could have, 8 or 9 members in a household, but we can't do that. So the household is constituted from couples who finish the Christian Life program. The household is set up immediately after the CLP. We all know that. We do a CLP. Usually it's the, let's see if I can remember because I'm older than Tito, so, I have those brain forgets all the time. I'd say another word that starts with an F, brain forgets all the time. But I do that. But right after the CLP, who is it? The discussion group leader, who is usually the household leader. He takes over that household. We form one household. So in succeeding years, there would be occasions when households would be reorganized. So please, brothers and sisters, it's part of our life in CFC. It's part of our structure. It has to be done. And we can't have one household forever and stay members of that household forever. Because if we don't, or if we do, then we really start to begin to lose our spiritual growth. And one way to renew our spiritual growth is through other members being in the household and getting to know other people up close and what their personal relationship with God is as well. And we've heard that. We heard that at our pastoral, PFO training. We heard that from Brother Tat, and we've heard it all the time. Every time we go somewhere, that's what we hear. You have to restructure your households. It doesn't have to be for a long time. It doesn't have to be for eternity. So the household head is a man appointed to take care of a household. He is the leader of the couples. The husband is the household head. The husband and wife are not household heads. The wife is not a household head. Together, the husband and wife are the household leaders. The husband is the head. A lot of times you hear the wife say they're the head of the husband. The head of the neck, the head and the neck of the husband. Yeah, but not. Yeah. Okay, so otherwise I'm gonna get in trouble again. I gotta stop. I can see her; she's already looking at me. So the household head, he is the designated leader over a group of couples and is responsible for the activities of the household and for the good order of household meetings. It is his responsibility, solely his responsibility to do that. So he acts as an older brother to the group. He's a brother, sometimes he's a father to some. I know as old as I am, sometimes I'm a father to some because sometimes in my household, the members are always usually younger than I am. So he helps each member to be fully integrated into the household and into CFC. He has no authority over members' lives, but exercises concern for their lives, especially in the areas of righteousness and good order. A household leader, when they do one-on-ones with their members, they really have a tendency to learn things that they never really knew, because in a one-on-one situation, a member will open up more than they will in a group. I mean, a member will, because the wife will go with the girl and the female, and the husband will go. And then at the end, you can come back and join together and do a little discussion. But, whatever is shared in a household should always stay in that household. It should never, ever, ever be discussed anywhere else unless it's to the unit head. And then if the unit head feels or deems that it needs to go higher, the unit head takes it higher. But it should always stay in the household, even in a one-on-one. If it's shared to you, let's say if I do a one-on-one with JC, whatever he tells me stays with me. I don't even share it with my wife. If he shares it with me, I keep it to myself. He supports the life in CFC and the decisions of its elders. So if an elder or a unit head talks to his household leader, he should support what his unit head tells him. He should be behind it. He shouldn't disagree with it. I mean, if his unit leader is truly wrong, then yes. If he's not totally satisfied, he could go up. But only if his unit head is telling him things that it should be that way in CFC. If it's something other than our own guidelines, then there's a problem there. Unless he is totally off base and wrong, then you have a reason to complain. But he is the leader. Not everybody. There's things. Sometimes I disagree with what I'm told, but if it's the right thing, then I have to obey it. But because that's why we're in this. It's kind of like a chain of command in the military, but it has to be. It has to be on a Christian basis. If it's off base of a Christian life, then that's wrong. Now, for the wife, she is responsible for developing and enriching sisterly relationships among the wives. And that's what I said earlier. She's not the household head, but she is responsible for the wives. But the household head is responsible for both, men and women. She fosters good order in the discussion and sharing of the wives during the household meeting. They always say that when we do discussion between men and women that we should separate. And that's up to the household leader. If it's a topic that shouldn't be shared between men and women, or if there's something that the wife doesn't want the husband to hear, then you should be separate. So the wife will be the head of the girls. She will lead the sharing of the women. And the male or the household head will lead the sharing of the men. So, like I said, she fosters good order in the discussion and sharing of the wives during the household meeting. She sees to it that all wives are fully integrated into the household and in CFC. She does not exercise headship over the wives whose heads are their husbands. So she doesn't take responsibility of the wives. She does the sharing with the wives. Sisterly love. Attitudes of household head. In order to properly function in a way that would truly be helpful to the members of the household head needs to have some basic attitudes to wit. So he must have the mind and heart of a servant. And today, I want to be honest with you. Today, I almost shared it as the word of the Lord or a message from the Lord. But before we started our household meeting today, sometimes I'm very fortunate that the Lord says stuff to me, or maybe it's just in my head and it just comes out. But I see it as the Lord sharing something with me. And today he shared with me, he said, we're his servants. We're his leaders. We are leaders, and we are here to spread his word, to spread the gospel, to bring more people back to Christ. So what I mean is, that our attitudes should be Christianly attitudes. It should, we shouldn't get angry at people. We shouldn't do that. I mean, we do because we're human. We're sinners. It happens. It happens with her and I all the time. My own wife, every day. So, I understand, honestly, every day, twice a day, sometimes 10 times a day. But, just this morning, I was rushing her. Come on, babe, because we had places to go. I had to go to the credit union before we came here, and that's usually a 20-minute drive before we get there. So she was a little upset with me, but, things calmed down. But just remember, that what we do as a leader, it has to be a Christian type of love. All right? So he must have the mind and heart of a servant. He must look upon the couples under him as being given by the Lord. Your members are given to you by the Lord. Remember that. To be cared for adequately, he has the responsibility to look after their spiritual welfare, a charge coming directly from God. No one else, directly from God. You are their leader. You're in charge of their spiritual growth, their spirituality, Christian spirituality. He must love them as brothers and sisters. If you don't love your household members, like them or not, people do things. People do things in your household that might upset you. But you have to learn as a leader to just let that go. You have to love them. He must serve with gladness and joy. Well, my wife knows sometimes I don't serve with gladness and joy. But, when she explains it to me, goes, babe, you're the leader. You have to do this. And I do. I always give in because it's the Lord wanting me to do it. It's not me wanting to do it. It's the Lord wants me to do it. So he must serve in trust and confidence. So, like I said, when somebody shares something with you, that's confidence. If a member shares it to you, keep it to yourself. Don't spread it around. The household head is not expected to exercise pastoral leadership over his group. Is not expected to exercise pastoral headship over his group. But he would normally encounter certain pastoral challenges which he cannot avoid or should not avoid, but for which he should prudently seek help from the elders. So if there's something, that you have an issue with, go to your unit head, and if your unit head can't solve it, he'll go higher than that until we can solve the problem. Or if you have questions, about pastoral leadership or anything, go higher. Don't just take it on yourself to say, well, this is the way it should be. If you have a question or if you doubt it, go higher. Some examples of issues that need to be referred to the unit head. Serious relationship problems between husband and wife. That we don't have. So anyway, let's say you have a member in your household and you hear from the husband that he's cheating on his wife, or you hear from the wife that she's cheating on her husband. You better go higher. You better go really high with that one. Go up. Don't just leave that to yourself. No, that's just an example. All right. See, that's a serious relationship problem, am I right? Issues which pastorally affect the unit or across units. So if there's something happening between this unit and this unit, e.g., financial borrowing. Yeah, an example. Financial borrowing without proper consultation and clearance. And I don't think it was in this group or our unit where this happened, but I heard it somewhere about somebody loaned money.
That's in the past.
Yeah, I know, but I heard, like I say, it wasn't in this unit, but I heard from where somebody loaned some money to someone, and they basically had to go to court or to get it solved. So, that's your own deal. If our people in our community should not ask each other to borrow money from someone else. So, bottom line, don't ask your brothers and sisters to borrow money. Just don't do it, because it's going to turn into a can of worms in the long run. So it just shouldn't happen, not in this community. Unfaithfulness of members to meetings, requiring a decision to retain or drop a couple from CFC. Brothers and sisters, this is true. If you don't attend meetings regularly, let's say if you just don't attend, you can actually be dropped from CFC. But, it's up to the household leader to talk to these couples. Why are you not attending? Find out the reasons why. It might be, maybe they don't like you. No, I'm just saying, maybe they don't like you as a leader, and the problem would be solved by giving them to another household or moving them. Slander or gossip. My goodness, how many times have we harped on this? Slander or gossip which erodes relationships within the household unit or across units. Remember, brothers and sisters, as leaders, gossip kills. It's a slow death. Just, refrain from doing it. Always refrain. It's bad, bad, bad. Moral and theological questions such as taxes, bribery versus extortion, penance, the sacraments, etc. That would be a big challenge. Moral issues. I don't think I could answer those questions. I'd have to go higher. I'd have to ask somebody that has a lot more knowledge than me to be dealing with those. Proselytizing and what is that? Communical relationships. Don't ask me. I can't even pronounce it. Somebody know what? Brother, you know what that is? Ecumenical relationships?
I think, if some members have different, church, ecumenical is about church, some leanings of some members, especially if they're not Catholic.
So
that is just one of the challenges.
Disagreeing with the way that we do things in Couples for Christ?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ecumenical is there should be peace between non-believers.
Differences between different. Okay. Attempting to. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So if we have members who are non-Catholic, don't try to make them Catholics, or the other way around. So practical considerations. Some of the concrete things the household head can and should do are: handle the practical concerns for household meetings, places of meetings, where we're going to have our household meetings, topics for discussion and sharing. As long as we're doing our pastoral formation, that should be easy because the guidelines are there. Drawing out a withdrawn member. Drawing out a withdrawn member. I don't know. Oh yeah, okay, so bringing someone into the household? Okay, yeah. Regulating an oversharing member. Sometimes that happens. So, I mean, if you're sharing and, let's say between the husband and wives, and say you're doing one together and all of a sudden the wife starts sharing something that the household leader feels shouldn't be shared, like how many times we're having sex a week or something. Stop that. That doesn't need, just as an example, I'm just throwing that out there, something that, yeah, just say, oh,
Somebody might get it.
yeah, they might get envious, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, over and over and over, yeah, just continually, yeah. Yeah, it should have like a time limit. Yeah, I agree. But how to stop gossip in the meeting? Well, if it starts, I'm going to stop it immediately. Gossip in your household meeting should, just, stop that, please. No gossip. Bringing the discussion to the agenda and keeping it on course. So, if you're having a household meeting, make sure you're having the household meeting. Let's not just in the middle of the household meeting start talking about something. You can do that in the fellowship afterwards. So keep your meeting on topic. Know each member well. Keep notes of each one. For me, if you're doing a one-on-one, I take notes when I do it. And if anybody that wants to do a one-on-one, I have a guideline for one-on-ones. And it tells you to keep notes that has topics for your sharing. If you don't know what I ask, it tells you. For the first thing that I do is, how do you feel pastorally within your CFC community? Do you feel how's your growth as a Christian in this community? But keep notes. If you're doing a one-on-one, keep notes. If your members are sharing something, and you feel it's important, take notes during your sharing after the household. And it may be something good that you can, use one day. So be prayerful. Always be prayerful in your household meetings. Pray for each member regularly during his own personal prayer time. Spend time praying before the household meeting and entrusting it to the Lord. Something that, I'm bad about. I never think about praying before the household meeting to have a successful meeting, that, everything, what should I do? What should I do, Lord? Asking those questions. Pray over members when appropriate. Birthdays, anniversaries. What did I skip? Spend time praying before the household meeting. I just did.
You're not listening.
Yeah, I know. See, that's why we argue all the time. Peace, but pray over meetings when appropriate. Birthdays, anniversaries, when sick, for inner healing, etc. If you feel there's a need to pray over a member, don't be ashamed. Don't be shy. Pray over your household members. Be prepared and have an agenda. Sometimes I'll write out what I want to do before the household, what I want to say. I'm pretty fortunate because, it just comes natural. But if you have an agenda, write it out, Like when I first became a household leader, I wrote down, goodness gracious, there goes that old thing kicking in. Yeah, Acts. Yeah, Acts. I wrote it down. Adoration. Contrition, thanksgiving and supplication. And I wrote it down, because I wrote to remind myself when I was a household leader how to follow the correct procedure. Because, I do like I'm doing right now, forget stuff. So if I didn't, but now, after you do it for a while, it's like concrete, you're prepared always. But still, if there's something special you want to do during the household, write it down so you don't forget. Focus on spiritual growth and God's power rather than on problems. This community is about spiritual growth. It's not about our problems. However, sometimes they do hinder us in our spiritual growth. We have to be sensitive to personal problems. Just because somebody has a personal problem, and if it's against us, we can't take that personally. Because if we do, then it affects all of us. It affects both of us. If it's in our household, it'll affect you, it'll affect that member, then it'll spread to every member in your household. So try to remember not to do that. Stay away from it. Get the group to make arrangements and account to one another regarding time of meeting, punctuality. Punctuality, 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 punctuality. I'm going to say that over and over and over because punctuality is a key to a successful household meeting. Please, brothers and sisters, punctuality, remember that. Just plant that somewhere in your little brains or big brains, whichever it may be. For me, it's little. Just remember, be on time. If everybody's there and you're the last member and you're 40 minutes late, you're affecting the whole household. So please, punctuality. Right way of speaking about others. Don't speak negative. Especially, don't make jokes about other people. Practical considerations continue. Always work on the faithfulness of members. Attendance at the household meetings is part of a member's commitment and is a must. Attendance is a must. Somehow, I don't know how, but we've got to try to instill in our members to prioritize a household meeting. Household meetings, I know there's 1,000 things out there if we have kids that we have to do, but we know when our household meetings are. We know they're the second and fourth weekend of every month. We know when our upper household is. It's the first weekend of every month. We know when our GA is, third weekend of every month. We know our schedule. Try to prioritize that over other things. Refer all frequent absentees to your unit head. I know when we have a household meeting, I always write it down. Household meeting, July the 4th. Attendees, I always list who's there. So I have a record of who's there. So, and then absentees, I write them down. I keep a record of it. Sometime down the road, I have access to do it. Every household leader should be doing it. When you have a household meeting, you should be able to go into the GDS, and JC knows what I'm talking about. You write down the date of your household meeting. It asks for attendance. You put down attendance and the topic of your household meeting. It's recorded into the GDS. Sometimes I forget to do that myself. Always be on the lookout for potential leaders, CLP discussion leaders, speakers, and future household heads. That's why Gia and Jonas are here, and Irene and Rainier are here. And Sister Joy as well today. So always be on the lookout for those and inform your unit or chapter head about them. We want to identify them early, chart their development at the opportune time, let them serve. Remember that CFC can only grow in numbers to the extent that our leadership resources allow. So, brothers and sisters, if we can't grow into leaders, how can we be expected to grow our community? I mean, we just end up being stale. Here we are. We're the same people. We have to enlarge the flock. Always work on the faithfulness of members. Always work on the faithfulness of members. Is that the same page? Did it not change? It's kind of similar, right? Yeah. Attendance at household meeting is a part of a member's commitment. Remember our commitment when we finish the CLP? That's part of our commitment, is that we'll attend household meetings. Refer all frequent absentees to your unit head. If you have someone who is always consistently absent, let your unit head know so he can talk to them. Together you can discuss the particular situation and decide on a course of action. So, if you have an issue in your household, don't be afraid to go to your unit head. He'll help you. Always be on the lookout for potential leaders, speakers, household. I think it is. And yeah, it's kind of over. So look upon our deja vu. Look upon our newsletter. I won't even try to pronounce that. Oh, thank you much. As a pastor, see, no Tagalog came to me. All right, gotcha. I don't either. Yeah. As a pastoral tool. Yeah. I haven't heard that in a long time. It can help members grow through teachings. Study and read, especially the books we publish, CFC, Blaze, or our guides. Even our unit heads manual, our household leaders manual. There's a lot of information. If you're going to be a unit head, read it. If you have questions, read it. If you're going to be a unit leader, read it. If you're going to do a CLP, go buy the book. If you go buy the book, you cannot go wrong. You will not go wrong if you use that book. Don't use the household meeting to ventilate your own personal problems. Shouldn't do that. Nor seek help for such problems from the household members under you. Rather, bring these to your unit head or to the unit household of which you are a member. If for any reason you feel you cannot do the job as household head adequately, discuss this with your unit head so that appropriate action can be taken. Don't just let it go with the result that your household members suffer from it. So, if you're having problems with being a household head, go to your unit head, see if you can talk it out. All things can be healed. The household members. In order to reap attitudes of household members, in order to reap the full benefits to be offered by participation in a household group, its members have to foster some basic attitudes. You have to be open. You have to remember confidentiality. Like I said, what's shared in a group stays in a group. Doing. You have to be faithful of attending households. Participation. When you're in a household, you have to participate. If you're doing, you're doing your praise and giving thanks, participate. You have to love each other. You have to love your members, and your members should love you. Each member is expected to attend the weekly meetings faithfully. Again, bi-weekly meetings for us. If either spouse is unable to attend a meeting, the other should still attend. They don't have to come as a couple if one cannot come for a valid reason. And we've done that before. Sometimes she's gone to a lower household meeting when I'm out of town, and sometimes, I've done a household meeting when she's out of town. You can't put it off just because your husband or your wife's not there, especially if you're the head. Since attendance is part of one's commitment, and since the very purpose of household groups would be defeated by frequent absences, indicating a lack of interest, such absences form sufficient ground for one's separation from CFC. Form sufficient. So if you continue to be absent, you can. You could.
Numbers of absence.
No, well, well, if somebody's no longer attending, then if you have a member who's no longer attending, you should actually do a one-on-one with them and find out why.
At school, the kid is absent or tardy for 3 times.
Oh, yeah.
That is considered one absent. How about in here, since you mentioned it?
Yeah, well, here's the deal. I just discussed this. I don't know if Tito was. This is what Tat said. He said, if
the guidelines that we just received during the meeting, if the members still willing, and if you talk to them, that's the reason for the one-on-one. Because if he is no longer attending the household meeting regularly, and there are some reasons why he cannot attend, and it's acceptable, or if he says we're still willing, but see we cannot cope up with the schedule, and they are all still willing to be a member of the community, then just give them the commitment that they are not withdrawing or resigning from, because if we cannot resign people from the community, as long as they say that we're still part of the community, but only we don't have time for now. Just like we have some couples in our community that some are going to school, have children, and they cannot. We cannot resign. We cannot.
The Christians should just come out, continue working.
Let's say if you have someone who has not attended a meeting in a long, long time, talk to them, find out why, and you ask them, are you still want to be a part of CFC? And they say yes, but just like Tito said, if you can't attend, if they're, then you can put them in the inactive, but you just can't say, unless they specifically tell you, I don't want to be a part of CFC anymore, then they'll be gone. But then you can remove them. But if they say they still want to attend, but they just can't right now, then they go into an inactive category. But if you have someone who's not doing that, you need to talk to them and find out why. I mean, if you don't talk to them, you'll never know. So it's advisable to at least talk to them, find out what their situation is, and ask them that question. Do you still want to be a part of CFC? Yes, but I can't attend now, then enact it. Since attendance is part of one's commitment, since the very purpose of a household would be to defeated frequent absences indicating a lack of interest, such absences form sufficient ground. We covered that. The household head has no authority to grant leaves of absence to his household member. You can't say, yeah, you don't have to come for 3 months, then you can come back. You can't say that as a household leave. Any such request should be referred to the unit head. The household meeting. Households meet once a week on the same day of the week as mutually agreed by the members. Like I said, for us, it's every other week. The household head cannot skip or cancel a meeting. Okay, here's my feeling on that as a unit head. All right, you're the household head. You send out something and you only have one couple who can attend. Don't cancel your household meeting. Have your household meeting. I don't care if it's one couple. If it's scheduled, do it. Don't cancel it. Even if it comes down to where nobody's going to attend, just have a family household. Bring your kids in there. Have a household meeting. Just do a short praise and worship with them. At least something. But don't cancel it because people can't attend. Because if you wait on everybody to attend, you'll never have a household meeting. And I say that to everyone. All right? Just try to have your household meeting. Like I say, even if it's only one couple, do it. Because you'll never find a day where everybody can be there. It's going to be rare because somebody's going to be missing. So don't cancel it because one couple's not there. If the household head cannot be present at a scheduled household meeting, of course, for a valid reason, he should not cancel the meeting. Delegate to someone else to lead it. Together they will all together. Huh? He should not. Rather, he must refer the matter to the unit head. Of course, the unit head could lead it too. Together they will agree on a replacement, either one of them men from the household or another brother from the unit. And that's what I say. You can always, if you can't do it, let your household head know it. You can have another person in your household lead it for that meeting. But it better be a good reason. I mean, I just don't want to go tonight. Can somebody else lead it? We have a gig. You can reschedule the day, brother. The household meeting, the venue. The household meeting is to be held in a home, of one of the members of the group. The meeting place is rotated among the homes of each member or couple. Now, that's up to the household head how he wants to do that. The easiest way to do it is alphabetically. And we're at that point, I think, today where we're going to start over. So next actually you got Skip, so you're next. Caboose life.
Oh, first one. We did already.
I'm messing with you.
You're in trouble.
I'm messing with you. I'll stay that way. So anyway, from Seppi, we'll go to the next alphabetically. And from now on, and we'll discuss that later, we're going to rotate that. All right? And if we do it alphabetically, that way we don't get confused. So having the household meeting in the homes of household members have the following values. Worship the Lord in our homes. It makes the truth that the home is a small church, a concrete reality. And we are building the church of the home and the church of the poor. So remember that. Your home is a church when you have a household meeting. The people in our home, our children, maybe our parents, our household help, which we don't have. Who here has household help? Will be aware of what we are involved in and what we do every week. To them, we will become people who are living their Christian faith openly and powerfully. What we do in our homes can be an effective tool for evangelization, especially to our residential household, to our neighbors, and to other relatives and friends. And people, sometimes our neighbors say, "Well, y'all had so many people over last night. What were you doing?" And we tell them we had a household meeting. "Well, what'd you do at the household meeting?" "Well, we have a praise and worship." But they all know now. That was when we first started. But sometimes your neighbors may ask, and like Brother Ben, he used to ask his neighbor upstairs. Remember, a few times we were there, she'd come down and join us. So it's if you want to, you can ask one of your neighbors to join your household meeting just so they can see what we're doing. Not an everyday event, but you can ask them to join, especially if they're interested. All right, ingredients of a household meeting. A typical household meeting would involve 3 indispensable ingredients. Worship and prayer, a time of sharing or teaching or discussion, and some time for fellowship. All 3 are very important, and none should be skipped or simply glossed over. So remember, we follow that. Worship, prayer, time of sharing or teaching or discussion, and time for fellowship. Don't make your fellowship 4 hours up in here. So all 3 are very important, and none should be skipped. So worship. The worship portion should include all necessary ingredients: singing, praising, thanksgiving, prayers of petition, and intercession. Every member should become familiar and comfortable with our way of worship and praise. And the household head shows the way. The household head leads the way. So that's why it's important for the household head to do it properly. A typical format for the time of worship could be as follows. Come before the Lord. May be a short period of silence and or a short exhortation from the leader. Sing a lively song of praise. Simultaneous vocal praising all together. Sing another song, then more praising. Sing a worship song. Singing in tongues, followed by a short period of silence. Bring forward words from the Lord, prophecy, inspired scripture, verses, exhortations. Individual prayers of thanksgiving, individual prayers of petition and intercession, closing prayer by the leader. And the leader is the one who's going to lead everybody through this. So it's important that you do it properly. Time of sharing, teaching, or discussion. Both men and women may meet together, or the men can meet separately at a different part of the home. From the women, depending on what is to be taken up at the discretion of the household head. So that's what I said earlier. You can do your sharing together if you want to. And if you think it's something that should be shared separately, then break into groups, men and women. However, most of the time it should be a separate meeting. Some advantages of this are as follows. Members are more free to share, especially of their difficulties when their spouses are not around. If I was to share in front of my wife some of the things I share, I'd be in the doghouse for a month of Sundays. So remember that, husbands, and wives, remember that as well. Practically speaking, there would not be enough time, at least quality time, for everyone to share in a joint meeting. So it's better if you break into groups. It's an opportunity for the husbands to be supported by the brothers as men, and the wives to be supported as sisters or by the sisters as women. The household can tackle two different topics in one meeting, addressing itself to the different needs of the men and the women in the group. So the last part, fellowship. And we all know that fellowship can last forever unless we control it. True? So it's the time for socializing. A very simple snack. Remember, we've always said one drink, one liquid, one solid. And for our own benefit, it's not expensive to do that. And really, that's the way we should be doing it. So it's the time for socializing. A very simple snack is usually prepared by the host couple. Try not to make it potluck every time you have a household. Here it is. Here it must be kept in mind that the food is incidental to the fellowship. We should not prioritize food over what we're there for, and our purpose is to worship the Lord, not to eat. All right? So rather than the fellowship being centered on food. All right, so remember that, brothers and sisters. Yeah, water and toothpicks. Yeah, the solids, the wood. Well, you can take toothpicks and make a cross out of them too. Water. All right, so furthermore, no member should be burdened by time for preparation, pressured in keeping up with a fellow member's extravagance. Let's say somebody in our household has a lot of money and they'd like to go out and buy a big meal for everyone. That doesn't mean Mr. Jonas has, it's that brain thing, doesn't mean Mr. Jonas has to keep up with the rich person every time there's a household. All right? So grace before the meal is said by the host. By the host. Remember that. So if you go into somebody, if you have a household member and you say, okay, brother, lead, and they go, oh, no, you do it. The host has to lead the grace. All right. The evening ends with a short closing prayer by the head. Duration. Here we go. Ordinarily, this is the one when I was reading over this, I saw it and I said, yeah, okay. So ordinarily, not all the time. The household meeting is held after dinner on a weekday. However, other mutually accepted times are possible. So whatever is mutually accepted through your household, it doesn't matter if it's morning, afternoon, evening, midnight, if that's what you want. The whole meeting would typically run for about 2.5 hours as follows. Worship, 30 minutes. Sharing, teaching, discussion, 1 hour to 1.5 hours. Fellowship, no more than an hour. So total time, 2.5 hours. Then you should go. Because especially if it's late, if you have an evening household that starts at 8, don't, unless you actually want to stay there and linger all night. But if you're the host and you don't want everybody there all night, just make it short.
That's actually 3 hours.
Yeah. Well, it's 60 to 90. You can make it up to 3 hours. 30.
Take the maximum.
Yeah. So anyway, as much as possible, household meetings should start at the agreed time, even if not everyone has arrived. So if you have a scheduled household at 8 o'clock, like I said, and you have a member who's not going to be there for 40 minutes, don't wait on them. Start. Do it. They can walk in, and if not, they'll be there in time for fellowship. They get to eat. So, But that's the way it should be done. Don't linger an hour waiting on your members to show up. Otherwise, if that happens all the time, you're going to get tired of your household meetings because they never start. And trust me, I've heard people complain about, the length of things, even, our assemblies, everything. Starting late, people not showing up and, putting it off for an hour before they show up. So just remember, one of the key words earlier, what did I say it was that I repeated over and over and over? Yeah, there you go. She's listening. How about that? So, social night. Okay. If we have 5 weeks in a month, let's say. All right? Every now and then you can have a social night. You don't want to have a social night for every household meeting. But occasionally, maybe once or twice a year, not every week, you can go out. Instead of doing a household meeting, go out. Go out together, enjoy life. Go have dinner, go bowling, go do something you all like. So the household may decide to have a social night on occasion. A social night is time devoted to fellowship with no formal worship, discussion, or sharing. It is recommended that a social night be held once a quarter. That's max, or minimum, I guess. On the month where there is a fifth week. Remember? Fifth week. Don't do it all the time. So various activities are possible. Members may have dinner together at a home or outside. Go somewhere together, party, bowling, etc. Or even decide to have a whole day outing, like let's go have a picnic at the lake today. It's a beautiful day. This could be a time where their children would be brought along so that they can all have fun together, and the children get to mingle. There's a lot of flexibility, and the idea is to just enjoy each other's company socially and become intimate friends as well as brothers and sisters in the Lord. But I can't think of a member here who, in our whole community, who we're not already friends with, honestly. We're a small community, so we're close. If we were a large community, it may be different. All right, for topics for discussion. For the first year, for new members, right after the CLP, I'm going to get this through quickly. The household meetings are used to follow the topics in the teaching program. Through the first year, 3 months CLP, next 3 months follow-up, 1 day, or day one, at least somewhere in the very beginning, covenant orientation. They want to do it in 1 day, but sometimes we can't do that. We're talking 4 talks. 3 months follow-up again, 1 weekend somewhere out the first year, MER, 3 months of follow-up again. So a quarterly follow-up. In the second year and beyond, the topics for the household meetings would normally follow the cycle. First week, personal sharing. Second week, general prayer meeting. Third week, Bible sharing. Fourth week, discussion of a Christian topic. And we have ours. First week, upper household. Second week, lower household. Third week's our general. Fourth week is a lower household. Personal sharing. Personal sharing is telling our brothers and sisters about what has been happening in our lives for the Lord for the past month, with a particular focus on what the Lord has been doing in our lives. Personal sharing is an essential element in building up our relationship with our brothers and sisters. As more and more we open up our lives to them, and they become an intimate part of our lives. Bible sharing. Bible sharing is a way for us to be more familiar with the Word of God as we share about it every month. Bible sharing is not Bible study as such, but a way of drawing insights from the Bible and allowing God to speak to us personally through His written Word. And I know for me personally, I don't do a lot of Bible reading, and I don't know how many people here read the Bible regularly. That is part of our commitment as a CFC member. Various methods of Bible sharing could be utilized. We, however, recommend the 7-step method of the Bible sharing, a topical discussion. This is a time for formal discussion of a Christian topic. These topics could be anything that have to do with the Christian life, which would be profitable to our members to gain a greater understanding of. Especially recommended are those topics which have to do with the life, mission, covenant, and culture of Couples for Christ. For example, such topics are personal daily prayer time, daily reading of the Bible, living fully the Christian life, regular weekly dialogue with the spouse, living as a good Christian parent, family life and children, headship and submission in the family, discipling and raising children, Christian service, and Christian fellowship. These are some of the topics that we could discuss in our household meetings. So furthermore, certain publications, sharings, or teachings may provide the impetus for a household meeting topic, to wit, teachings contained in our newsletter. There you go. That word. I'll mess it up. It'll be Ognion. All right, there we go. Okay. Topics contained in the various books that we publish, which, we have our household topic books that we got for all of our household leaders recently. So, Hugh Grug. Maybe that's just from a different dialect. All right. So anyway, we have plenty of readings. We have plenty of things that we can get our topics from. And if you can't get a topic, you can get it from the Bible. You know, read from the Bible and do it. Yeah, I'm getting there, brother. I'll be done by 1, I promise you. Okay. So furthermore, certain publications, like I said, other thing, God's Word today. What do we have? Our daily readings. We can do it from that. We can actually do it from, Bible topics, our daily readings, our daily Bible reading, the Word. So we can get all those from there. Okay, moving on, because I know Brother Tito's over there doing this. Come on, Randy. So other group activities. Aside from what has been taken up as proper to the activities of a household group, there are many other things that can be done as well. It is up to the household head to discern the needs of his members individually and as a group to act accordingly. These other activities may be in lieu of the normal household activity with approval from the unit head or in addition to it. Some such activities are healing sessions, pray-overs, intercessory prayers, one-to-ones, video sessions. What's that? The Bible teaching. What's that? I forget what it's called.
Bible timeline?
Yeah, Bible timeline. Social, sports, outings, basketball for some, picnics, etc. Lord's Day celebration. Other activities are welcome so long as they make a positive contribution to the support and strengthening of our Christian lives. No, shopping's not included.
Oh, wow.
What happened? That's not it. No, it can't be. Was it? Somewhere there it says in conclusion. But we can, yeah. Well, let me get down here. Yeah, that's because I haven't touched this. Get me to the bottom there, bro. Yeah, I know. I don't know why it got so small. I think it's only when it's plugged in. Yeah. You bring it down. Just go ahead and just drag it. It's so small I can't see it when my old does. Yeah. Well, that must be it.
But
There is no conclusion. That's for the talk tomorrow, though. So see, I'm talking today and tomorrow. Yeah, so that's it.